Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 11, and the name of this episode is Fruit of the Flower. This was a really good episode, and there were some eye-opening moments in this episode as well. But before I get started, let me send out my love and condolences to everyone that was affected by the tragedy in Las Vegas, as well as the aftermath of Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Jose, and Hurricane Maria. You know, if you can give your, any relief or support, or assistance any way, shape, or form, please do so, because our fellow man needs our help, and we need to be there for them, and we need to extend our love and support. So let me begin with this review. This episode opens up with Nova and Charlie. Nova is about to go to Atlanta because she's about to be on national television. Remember, her and Robert Dubois was talking about that in the last episode. And it's about, a panel about Zika. So she's looking for something to wear because she's about to be on TV and nothing seems to work for her. And she calls Charlie over because Charlie's been on television and she knows how to look good, for TV. So Charlie pretty much kind of looks through her closet or whatever, and she was like, "Girl, you need to go shopping." And she's like, "What you trying to say?" She's like, "No, I'm saying this is your first time on television. You're gonna be on air in front of millions of people. You should find something special, find something new. So yeah, you should treat yourself out to something." And then, she also talks about Robert Dubois and that she gave him and that he gave her a key to his place. And pretty much Charlie was like, "So do you think it's moving too fast?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know." And she was like, "I feel you. It's scary, and it's kind of crazy because you're dating someone that you also do business with. I know the feeling." And of course, she's talking about her and Davis. And she says that, yeah, at one point, we're talking about going on vacation, but then it was like, oh, no, we have to, have this, business deal, and that by us doing this business deal, this could actually be groundbreaking. And we kind of had those kind of decisions. Do we take vacation or do we handle business? And she says it's always a toss-up between the two. But then she said that, if anything, don't let that key take you in a direction that you don't want to go. So think long and hard as to what you're going to do in regards to that. So that's where it ended there. Then we get a scene with Dawn-Lyen and Ralph Angel. Blue is spending the night at a friend's house, and if anything, and she says she's also proud that Ralph Angel has decided to take classes at the university to learn how to run the farm by herself. But then she said that, I really do want to take these sessions at the church. I think it would be good for us. Like, so what do you want to do? And he says, and he pretty much told Dollar, I want to marry you. So pretty much, we next see that they're at the church talking with the counselor, and he was asking them, so what are like the issues in your relationship? And she was saying that communication and that we don't fight there. And then he started asking them about their parents or whatever. And he asked like, well, since there's a lot of like bickering in your relationship, did you see your parents fight? And pretty much she says they never fought. And then we kind of see like Ralph Angel because Ralph Angel has never met her parents. So, and I think this season we're going to actually get introduced, to Dollar's parents. I'm looking forward to that. So, to see where Dollar came from originally. And it will probably help us to understand Dollar even more. But she was saying that, look, my father was in charge, and what he said was law. And she said that my mother never went against him. So that was the kind of relationship that she grew up in. So then he asked Ralph Angel, what about your parents? And he said that, look, my mom died when I was 10. But I do remember as a child they were always kissing all the time. Hold on to that. And then he was saying that, so pretty much he was saying that as far as, so pretty much the council was like, look, it seems to me that both of you have a different idea of what marriage is. Darla, you seem like your parents was more like a fixed, traditional way of marriage. And as far as Ralph Angel, you have this romanticized version of what marriage is. But obviously, you both have not been in a situation where your parents really showed you the actual truth of what makes a relationship work. So he gave them homework, for them to work on their communication, and we see that go on. Then we see Hollywood and Vi. She asks Hollywood to take this letter to put in the mailbox, but it was actually her contract, with the grocery market to do these pies. Excuse me. And then, Hollywood being concerned is like, are you sure about this? With your health and everything, you sure you want to take on the And she's like, look, my doctor told me that I might have fibromyalgia, but, right now I'm fine, and everything is cool. But then she's saying that, look, I really want to get this thing off and running, but she's like, I really need you to kind of let me know if I'm on point. He's like, oh yeah, I have no problem doing that. But she's like, I'm really am concerned. Do you sure you want to do this? And she was like, yeah. And on top of it, why would I want to keep them waiting when they're giving me a $50,000 advance, honey? And he's like, well, damn, Vi, you acting like you about to spend the money already. But it was cool because it's like, yeah, she's made a big groundbreaking thing, as far as her career. But then again, her health, is she, going to be stable enough to continue to move forward and continue to be successful? Because in order to be successful, you need your health. And without your health, you don't have anything. So I get that. So then we get a scene with Charlie, Remy, and Lorna. Charlie has found the perfect space to hold her black festival, and they can actually crown their own Queen Sugar, and she said that this could be great for the black community. We'll have a Ferris wheel, we'll have this, we'll have that, and of course Remy's with it because she's like, this sounds great. And then Lorna immediately starts going in. She's like, yeah, it sounds great, but the thing is, you're paying for it. What good? I mean, she said that based off the fact that you're having all of these issues right now with the mill and keeping it financed, don't you think doing this kind of risk would not be good? I mean, that you're investing all this money, but you're not making that money back and then some. Do you think that it's a bad investment? And pretty much Charlie actually said that, look, Mom, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm doing this whether you like it or not, because we have to take a stand and let the Landrys and the Boudreaux know that they can't run things forever and that they can't run us. So this Black Festival is going to happen. And then we actually get a scene with Kiki and Micah. They still are getting closer, and it's cute. And the thing is, they're actually looking at a picture of Lorna and Ernest, his grandparents. So, and he's talking about like, wow, look how happy they look and all of that. And then finally Lorna shows up, and Lorna pretty much talked about her career as being a vice president of outreach and how she's become very successful. And while they were married, they lived on a base in San Diego, and that's where they originally met. And she said that, well, were you on the base because you were a part of she's like, oh no, the base is where I found work, and that's where I was at. I mean, when I first started there, I was like a secretary. That's when I met your grandfather, and we instantly hit it off, and later on we got married, and then after, me and your grandfather split up, I finally left the base, and I pretty much, went on with my career, and now I have money, and I just travel the world. That's what I do. And he introduced her to Kiki, and she immediately likes Kiki. She's like, I've heard nothing but great things about you from Micah as well as Charlie. Like, you are highly spoken. And Kiki and her instantly clicked, and, she pretty much says that, she likes art, and she really wants to be an artist, or she wants to, get a good job where she can invest in her little, she can kind of invest in, like, her little, I forgot what she called it. And she wants to invest in her someday. And she's like, well, what's a someday? And she's like, well, I actually want to go to Spain. I really want to see some. It was like the Gracias, I think. She wants to see that, and she always wanted to. And she's like, well, if anything, Michael went on his 3rd birthday, and he's kind of like, Grandma, we know you got money. You don't got to tell everybody you got shit. And I ain't wanted to know that. Like, yeah, I know I went, but I want this to be an adventure for her. And so we kind of see Michael's like, So pretty much, they end up getting some pie. First Lorna's like, so is this Vi's restaurant? Well, she's like, well, she's the manager here, but she's not working today. So then Bertha, with her slutty ass, comes to the table, gets their order. They both get slices of Vi's pies or whatever. They ask Lorna what she wants, like, oh, I just want some decaf coffee. I'm like, you shady bitch. Like, you need some pie. Cut it out. Oh, yes. So then we get a scene. Nova's shopping for a dress, to go on television. She gets a call from Robert, and Robert's like, hey, how you doing? He said, I just talked to the producer. Producer told me that you got a hotel. She's like, oh, yeah, it's cheaper. And she's like, yeah, they paying for it, so I just took the opportunity. He's like, okay, fine. Like, why not us, have us a good loving time on they dime? And she's not saying anything. He's like, are you here? Like, are you staying with me or whatever? And because he actually was hoping that she was going to stay with him when she came down there, because he did give her a key. But she literally pretty much dogged him on this call. She's like, I have to call you later. Can we talk later? Bye. And I was just like, I'll call you back. I was like, wow. So she literally is avoiding him. And he kind of felt it. Like, because he's saying, like, yo, what's going on? But the thing about it, she's scared. And we pretty much, come to understand Nova's point later on as to why she's in this space. So then we get a scene with Lorna and Charlie. They're at the golf court or whatever, and we can definitely see they got, these black workers, but not no black golfers. It's like Charlie's probably the only black person there, who's golfing. And pretty much, she talks about, oh, yes, I enjoyed, because she knows she's about to go back home soon. Well, she's going to be leaving. And she pretty much says that, look, so, Mom, did you enjoy yourself while you're here? She's like, yes, I enjoyed spending time with my daughter. I enjoyed spending time with my grandson. And I also enjoyed meeting my grandson's new girlfriend. She's a keeper. And I was like, yeah, she likes Kiki. Like, everybody likes Kiki. Kiki's awesome. And pretty much she was saying that, so pretty much they was, pretty much they're sitting there talking, and, she's saying, like, so, have you thought about extending, your applicants and everything? And so pretty much she's saying, you thinking about, still extending, your base, so you can get more farmers coming to the mill, so you can keep the mill running, because it would be a shame that you've had such this great, you had this great, introduction into the community for it to go down. So the next thing you know, we actually meet this guy named Martin. Now, Martin is actually related to the Landrys. His grandmother his grandmother is Landry's aunt. So, and he owns 20,000 acres. And Lorna introduced them, and he was saying that he pretty much has a parish in St. James, and he was saying that, well, if you're a Landry, don't you already send your stuff to their mills? And he was like, yeah, but I don't get the family discount. Sorry about that. So he's like, I don't get the family discount and shit. And she was like, really? She was like, yeah, we family, but I don't get the discount, so I'm looking to invest, my labor to somewhere better. So he gave Charlie his card, and he said that, we should set something up. So I'm like, okay, this might be interesting. Or could it be a setup? Because, he is a Landry. He could be trying to get in to see what's going on there to try to sabotage it. You never know. But hey, the guy got, he got 20,000 acres. So that's really big, for the mill especially. So we're going to see what's going to happen with that. So then we actually see that Ralph Angel, we see Ralph Angel is actually in college, learning agriculture and business. And we see that Remy is a professor, so Remy's the professor of the class, and he was asking questions in regards to, farming and agriculture and about, what do you have to do, and Ralph Angel knew some of the answers, and then there was just like this white girl who kind of had an eye on him too. Yeah, they love the chocolate, honey. But anyway, So when Remy asked another question in regards to farming, Ralph Angel answered, but Remy was also trying to expand it, like, okay, yeah, but what about this and what about that? And he was saying that, yeah, you gave the right answer, but we need to know why. We really need to know. We really need to know everything in regards to it. And this pissed Ralph Angel off because he felt that Remy undermined him in front of the class, like he wanted to make an example out of him. But we just see that Ralph Angel really was in his feelings, because after the class he just went in on Remy. He was like, oh, so you just decided to make fun of me and try to put me down? He's like, no, it was nothing like that at all. This is a business class, Yes, you have the agriculture side of things, but we need to know why we do these things. Not just because, because he asked, okay, so in order to pull the weeds, what do you have to do? Ralph Angel gave the right answer, but he said that why? He says, it just works. No, you need to know why that works. And that's what Remy was getting at. But Ralph Angel just got in his feelings. He was like, you know what? I ain't with this shit. You're not going to sit here and make a fool out of me and all this and all this shit. And he's like, oh yeah. And on top of it, and he's saying that he was trying to let Ralph Angel know, look, I was not trying to make fun of you or anything like that. But there's more to this than you realize. And he's like, oh, I see. You a know-it-all, huh? You just a know-it-all. You know every damn thing. You know what? I see why you and Charlie together. You both make a good fit. I was like, Ralph Angel, you need your ass beat with your spoiled ass. You just got in class the first fucking day and you already starting some shit. Just sit your simple ass down. Because then later on, we see that he runs in with, he's like running in with Dollar or whatever. Dollar was like, when are we going to actually do the homework that 30 days? But she's like, man, we ain't got to do that crap. That's something that the type of stuff that he asked us to do, that's stuff that Blue would do. Like, really? And it really pissed her off, because it's like, dude, you're not taking nothing seriously. And then all of a sudden, we see that Dollar talks to Remy, and Remy noticed that something's bothering her. And she was saying that it's Ralph Angel. It's like he's not really taking, this process seriously and everything. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to try to talk to him because, you know, he kind of blew up in class today or whatever. And Remy, I have to say, I'm Team Remy because Remy got Ralph Angel on track. He's like, look, I apologize for how things went down, but I'm letting you know there's more to this there's more to this business that you have to know. Because Ralph Angel was like, I'm quitting. I ain't coming back to class. You ain't gonna make a fool out of me. The only teacher that actually liked me was my gym teacher, and every other class I failed in, and school ain't for me, and maybe I ain't for school. And Remy wasn't gonna let that happen. He's like, dude, you're not gonna drop out. If anything, you need to understand that, look, you got a lot of baggage that you're carrying, and I'm here to help you to sort that luggage, and I'm also here to help you carry it too. I'm with you. Like, you are smart. You are all the things that your father said about you. You are going to be great at being at running the farm, but you need the tools, and that's what I'm here to give you. But you got to be patient and go through the process. And it was that finally made, you know, Ralph Angel snap that, bruh, you cannot expect immediate gratification. And him and Remy, you know, dapped it up and they hugged and they was good. And then we see later on he finally works with, he actually starts to, you know, work with Darla, and he blindfolds her, and they start doing the actual exercise that the therapist gave them. So now he's taking things seriously and understanding that you have to go through the process to get to a solution, which was great. So then we actually get the scene of all scenes, the scene between Charlie, Nova, and Lorna. Because Nova came over to show Charlie some of the things she picked, not knowing that Lorna was there. So immediately the tension was there. You can cut it with a knife. But Lorna actually took leadership in this, and she was saying that, look, you know, she was saying that, look, I know, you know, you probably heard some personal things about me. You probably developed some personal ideas about me, but I want to let you know I have not done any harm. I never meant any harm to you or meant any disrespect to you. And then, you know, Nova's like, yeah, whatever, I'm got to go. Because we can definitely tell she's emotional in regards to seeing Lorna. And she's like, yeah, it's okay, I got to go. But then she says that, you know, she's like, you know, I admired your mother. You know, Trudy was a hero of mine. And she's like, well, how can she be that? You took her man. And she's like, you really think that's what happened? She's like, no, I didn't break them up. That's not what happened. You know, Trudy and your father were soulmates. Even when he was with me, he always talked about Trudy. Trudy was the love of his life. But the thing about it, they were different. Trudy was a free spirit. Your father was a traditionalist. And because of that, she decided that she wanted to be free, and she didn't want to be constrained in a marriage relationship. So he went off, you know, went to California. He met Lorna. They got married, and they had Charlie. And eventually, you know, he finally went back. And the second time around, they actually got back together and got married. But then she had said that once we actually got together, he got word that he had got word that Trudy was pregnant with you. So he went back, and she said that I have more of a love for what's inside of me than what we have right now. So if anything, she freed him to go back to Lorna. She didn't. She pretty much said that, you know, I'll be with this child, but you should go find yourself and you should be free. So Nova was actually moved when she heard this, because she realizes, oh wow, Lorna's not this evil bitch that came in and stole my father away from my mother. She's not a home wrecker like I thought. But that's what was fed to her, so she believed that. But she says that, look, I loved him. I think about him all the time. I really did love him. But then, once she told her that, I was like, wow, that is everything. Because doesn't Trudy and Ernest's relationship sound exactly what she has right now with Robert Dubois? So I thought that was rather interesting. And then we had on Vi. Hollywood invited his coworker Will over to watch the game or whatever, and we see Vi has an issue with white people. She can deal with white people as far as business and all of that, but she don't want white people up in her house or up in her space. She ain't down for that shit. So all of a sudden, when she saw Will up in her house with Hollywood, she felt some kind of way about it. And she kind of put it off on the fact that, well, Hollywood, it doesn't matter. We just from two different generations. We see things differently. And he was like, this ain't got nothing to do with no damn age or generations. And you know it, Vi. So we see that Vi got an issue with white people. And we come to find this out because she actually had to sit down with Nova. Nova gives her, some herbal refreshments to kind of help her, some stuff to put in her bath to help with her bones and all that. And she also gave her that green. And she's like, oh, you want to smoke? She's like, oh, no, that's for you, baby. But then she starts asking questions about Lorna and about her father and all that. And she's saying that, what really happened? And she's saying that what did my mother feel about her? Because last time I can remember, my mother said nothing, never bad. My mother never said not one bad thing about Lorna. That never came up. But from you had all this anger and hostility towards her, and I grew up hating this woman, but now realizing she didn't take my father at all. My mom set him free to go be with her. She didn't come here and take him from Trudy and says, I'm leaving, I'm taking your man and fuck you. It wasn't nothing like that at all. And she said that they were different. They were soulmates, and we actually know that that Vi and Trudy were very close. So of course she saw Lorna as the betrayer because she was Team Trudy. Understandable. But then we actually kind of realized that, yeah, Vi got some really deep-seated issues. And we come to see later on that Vi comes over the house to look for Charlie, but she runs into Lorna. Her and Lorna have a conversation. She's like, look, at the end of the day, me coming here was not to bring any harm to anybody, but I just wanted you to know that I really loved your brother, and I never meant to hurt anybody. And she says that, yeah, you're right. And I think a lot of times people may do things never intending to hurt anybody, but they do. And she says that goes on both ends. So she finally kind of let Lorna off the hook, as far as blaming her for everything. She's saying, look, Ernest made the decision as well. So it wasn't just you. It was also him. And Lorna was just relieved because she's like, finally, we've gotten past this. Because there's still that tension between them. And it's because Vi got an issue with white people. And understandable, growing up in the South and dealing with Jim Crow laws and all of that, Vi came from that generation. So, she ain't too keen about breaking bread with white people up in our house. And I understand that. And she has every right to feel that way. So hopefully she can move past it, from the standpoint of the fact that Lorna is Charlie's mother. But yeah, I definitely get it. So then we actually we pretty much see that happen, that finally her and Lorna kind of made peace a little bit. Then we actually see that Hollywood and Will actually go to an actual sports bar to watch the game. Then one of their supervisors come in and he says that, look, I got this, we about to give y'all, we definitely, got 6 days of overtime because we about to start this new project and it's actually going to be funded by Sam Landry. So all of a sudden Hollywood's like, yo, I'm not going to be able to take that job. And then Will's like, are you serious? We now starting to make some money, and now you saying you ain't going to take this second opportunity? He's like, I just can't take it. I just can't take it. Because he knows about the Landrys and he knows how they've been, running things as far as the farms and the mills, and how they've been trying to sabotage all the black farmers. So he's like, oh, I can't work for this asshole. But we actually gonna see it's gonna put him at odds with Will, because Will just started working, and he's just now making money, and now they get a big opportunity, and Hollywood was like, I can't take it. But the funny thing about it, Sam Landry was actually at that site. So Sam Landry actually, I think, funded that site that they're working on now. Little does he know. And then also it was cool too, because Lorna finally told Vi, I loved him. I loved him so much that I told him he needs to go back to her, because she did let Nova know that, look, even when he was with me, he always talked about Trudy. Trudy ain't never left his spirit. That was the love of his life, and that's why he went back to her. He couldn't live without her. And Vi was like, yeah, I knew you loved him, and I knew he loved you, but she just didn't like how the way it affected. She didn't like the fact that he left, Nova, by herself. So for a while, Nova didn't have a father until he came back, and that's when they rekindled their relationship. So yeah, I got that all down. Then the last scene, we see Robert Dubois enters his apartment to find Nova there. Nova used her key, and her hearing about her parents actually got her to realize she's in the same situation, where both her and Robert Dubois are totally two different people, but they're drawn to each other. And she's like, I don't want to let our differences, I don't want to keep pushing you away. Because I learned from my history. I saw two people who really loved each other, but they were different, and they allowed their differences get in the way of their relationship. I don't want that to be with me and you. I don't want our differences to get in the way. So they finally embraced, and that's where the episode ended. I was like, this is going to be an interesting ride from here on out. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, I've started a GoFundMe. Check out my link in the description box. And also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Queen Sugar. So until then, everybody, take care.